Hi, in today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to take a 3D awning and create 2D cut files or pattern files from that awning. And about 3 months ago I was at a canvas shop in town, and they were showing me how they go about taking a frame that they've welded and creating the patterns for the canvas that they cut on the frame. And it was pretty interesting to watch, and they drape material over it, and they've got chalk, and they pin it and they cut it. And what I was able to show them is by using the flattening software and a 3D digitizer, I can create right off the frame a 2D pattern within about 20 or 30 minutes. And that's what I'm going to show you today. So I'm just going to, these toolbars, one thing I should point out is in TerraFlat, the toolbars are totally dockable. So I'm going to move our flattening tools down here and bring the edge highlight toolbar down here. And I'll just move my regular Rhino tools over here. And we're going to open up this project that I had done, and it's called Awning. Let's go in this view here. Control Alt E and zoom to extend. And as you can see, this is basically a typical awning that may go outside, or a sunshade if you want to call it, that would go outside of a business. Now if I highlight this shade, I can show you all the points that go to make up that shade. So you can see these are points which I digitize with the 3D digitizer. And we're going to have some information on the 3D digitizer up on the website in the next couple of days. Anyway, so these points show where I've taken the points with the 3D digitizer. I'll turn those points off now, and we'll get to work on how to actually create a 2D cut pattern. So in Rhino, the tool that I'm going to use is a surfacing tool, and it's this one here, which is sweep one rail. So I'm going to select this bottom rail, and you can see it's highlighted in yellow, and then I'm going to go over and I'm going to select these cross section curves, these two here. Then I just hit enter on my keyboard. As you can see, it says gives you a preview, and this is the surface. Now if I wanted to go around and do the whole 8 pieces that make up this awning, I just hit enter again, and that sets me in the command sweep one rail, and go ahead and click these and hit enter and hit enter again, and I can go right around and create my whole surface this way. So basically, as you can see, this would be the surface for the awning. So I've created my 3D surface. Now what I want to do is use TerraFlat to create the pattern. So I go down here, I click create, and I'm just going to do one of these pieces. I'll select this one piece in the center. I hit enter on my keyboard. It's gotten rid of all the rest of the pieces, and then I go to flatten, and it's flatten this piece. Of course there's some stress on the piece, so the next thing that I want to do is spring that piece. Hit spring. Now I'll go through the process of giving us an optimal flat pattern, and that's the flat pattern right there. Now I noticed that these green lines indicate that there's a cut, and I don't know, when I'm using the one rail operation in Rhino, this may basically just be open pieces at the end of the tip. So what I can do in TerraFlat is go into my mend cut tool and just touch that piece a couple of times there, and now it's mended that and sewn all those pieces, those loose pieces together. The next operation that I want to do is export that piece. So I would simply go here to export, and I can call it, I'll just call it KDXF. So once that's done, I've exported that. Now that's a DXF file that I can send to a cutting machine. So just going through the example again, we'll go into our awning. Once we have our awning, just bring it into one view. Control Alt E is my command in Rhino. As I said, if I highlight this, you can see all the points which I digitized from with the 3D digitizer. And as I mentioned, in the next couple of days we'll have some information on 3D digitizers. There's a bunch of different ones out there, so um, I'll show you some examples of how to use them and how that can be then taken and create 3D um, surfaces, and then take those surfaces for 2D cut patterns. So let's get back out of here. Once we have our surface, we go into this command right here to create a surface using one rail for this example. So here's our first rail, and then ask for two cross-sectional curves which are highlighted. We hit enter and OK, and again you can see that's the piece that's going to become our 2D flat pattern. Once we have that, we hit create in TerraFlat, select the piece that we want to create or that we want to flatten, hit enter, and from there we hit flatten, and then we go into our spring routine, hit enter on our keyboard. It'll go through a process of optimizing that piece for flattening or for creating the flat pattern. Basically, by digitizing the frame that I did at the canvas shop, I can digitize and create a surface, and I can flatten that surface within 30 minutes. Have patterns ready to be sent out to a plotter, to a cutter, whatever the case may be. Alright, thanks again for listening, and we'll speak to you soon.